This is our Biobits project on European green crabs and invasive species by Breonna Keller and Elizabeth and Jemmy. What is an invasive species, you might ask? Invasive species are organisms that are not native to the ecosystem it inhabits. They reproduce quickly and can cause harm to the ecosystem. European green crabs inhabit many coasts across the world, most of which they are non-native to, such as Southern Africa, East Asia, Australia, and countries in South and North America like the United States, Canada, Chile, and Argentina. They are native to countries in Northern Africa and Europe like Norway and Morocco. They are also a major invasive species in New England, and they are common among many places in Massachusetts like Plymouth. These crabs were introduced to the East Coast back in the 1800s and 1900s by traveling in the ballast water of merchant ships or getting caught in lobster catches. Like all invasive species, green crabs can be detrimental to their environment in which they inhabit. They populate quickly, making the population difficult to control, and they also have a high tolerance to different salinities and temperatures, allowing them to survive in a variety of different locations, like sandflats and rocky shores. These creatures also have major impacts on the native species. They can be major threats. The green crabs outcompete native species for food and shelter, and they are also better hunters than other crabs like spider crabs or blue crabs. They prey on scallops, quahogs, and clams, which decreases the biodiversity of the ecosystem, as well as by taking the food away from other species like lobsters and birds. They also burrow in eelgrass, which disrupts the habitat for other species. And eelgrass is very important to protecting coastlines from erosion, and this is a major problem seen in Nantucket, Massachusetts. Managing the population. Invasive species can be managed by adding predators to the ecosystem, as long as they do not harm native species. The European green crabs have very few predators. However, there is a parasitic species known as the Sacculina carcini that lives as a plankton, and they will pierce the exoskeleton of the crab and lay eggs in the belly of the host. This can cause the host to become infertile, preventing the reproduction of more crabs. In order to manage the green crabs, this specific technique is still being researched because it has the potential to harm other crab species native to the areas, like in Plymouth, spider crabs and blue crabs. Other ways to manage the population include inspecting aquaculture products, traps, and the ships to make sure that no crabs have found their way and are brought to other locations. We can also restrict sale and transport of non-native and exotic species to limit them from making it to other locations. Moreover, other ways to manage the population include trapping programs can be implemented to allow fishermen and clammers to trap crabs in the off-season. People can set up traps and release bycatch like other types of crabs or clams if it is not the right season. However, they can keep the green crabs. Although the fishermen won't be making much of a profit, it will help them in the long term so in the summer the crabs are not preying on the other shellfish. Fishermen can also sell green crabs to local restaurants. They are difficult to cook, but there are ways to do it. Another way we can attempt to manage the population is by sharing knowledge about the species. By informing people about the impacts of these species, more people will be aware and can work to prevent an increase. Also, people could do more to limit the effects, for example, planting eelgrass to limit the erosion. And also, it would help people be more aware when trapping or on boats, they will know what to look for and how to keep the crabs from being brought to other places. In conclusion, overall, if we do not find a way to control this species and remove it from environments where it does not belong, they will cause major destruction to the ecosystem. By preying on shellfish, it is taking away from fishermen in the food industry, which can put them out of a job, and is also taking away from other consumers like fish and birds. One change in the ecosystem will cause a domino effect and lead to a decrease in many other species by causing more competition and species to starve. Although they may seem small, these organisms should be on the list as one of Fish and Wildlife and many other people and organizations' top priorities. If we don't do something now, these grain crabs can have a major effect on the future.